لكن تحديت الظروف وخضتها وحدي صبورا مستعينا بالصلاة. كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي، كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أسى محنتها، وكم كرهت مصابها.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على نبينا محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن تبعهم بإحسان إلى يوم الدين. ما بعد. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Subhanallah al-Azim. This video, with all due respect, I never thought that in 1 week certain changes and developments have made social media spiral out of control. Subhanallah al-Azim. Let's just refresh your memory. As you can see on screen, we've got a thumbnail called Dawah Man the Ikhwani. So basically this was to highlight the double standards and hypocrisy of the waste paper of the rulers, and proving my point that guidance and misguidance is in connection to your obedience and your love and your regard and your respect for Saudi Arabia. And for you to be upon misguidance is your vocal opposition and highlighting their inconsistencies and their hypocrisy to that matter. And for them, the waste paper of the rulers, the neo-Salafis and the pseudo-Salafis and the waste paper of the rulers, also the Madakhila, let's add them in it, even though this video is not really addressed to them, it's their benchmark. So unless your obedience is vocal for Saudi Arabia, then that is sort of affirmation of your guidance and you being upon the Sunnah or upon the manhaj, like they like to call it, the manhaj police. And subhanallah al-azim, we have a situation or a development that has come about only in one little old week since the release of my video. Subhanallah al-azim, the hypocrisy and, dare I say, I told you so has happened. Dawah Man invited Daniel Haqiqatjou, meaning he invited him to his podcast to have a discussion regarding Umar Suleiman and what happened a few years ago of the protest that took place at the border.
That fence are people with guns. Instead, we call out to them with love. That you have a right to seek peace. You have a right to seek asylum. You have a right to not be tear gassed. You have a right to be honored and dignified.
Which obviously was a honourable protest in terms of the cause, but the rituals that were carried out, obviously Umar Suleiman al-Yaqeen, watering down Islam and got no backbone, participated in all sorts of kufri rituals. And to add as a side note, we don't see a sujood or a ruku' or a dua if this was sort of in all faiths getting together and you're bending over backward performing kufri libations, etc., then why is it that you don't ask them to participate? Again, why would you? You get it? Why would you anyway? Why would you participate anyway? But again, I've already spoken about this, but it just shows like it really, these are the people that wear the cloak of scholarship. But anyway, let's get to the matter at hand. So Dawah Man invited Daniel Haqiqatjou, and as you can see on screen, Daniel Haqiqatjou confirmed that Dawah Man contacted him and said we have differences, etc., etc. So they had the podcast. It was a good podcast, by the way. They discussed a lot of matters, and my video came out afterwards saying, oh, hold on now, man, there's a bit of double standards here, considering you're the one that used that criteria that anyone opposes the rulers or criticizes rulers, the Khariji, and anyone that does this or, unites with those who they agree with and disregard, as you said, for those that you have a disagreement with, but you unite on things that you agree upon, is a Ikhwani principle, when you follow that principle. Then what happened? Now, Dawah Man, sticking to his bootlicking principle, performed a cardinal sin, well, I like to call it, and disrespected Daniel. Wallah, disrespected him. Now, I've been hearing through the grapevine that Dawah Man actually contacted Daniel Haqiqatjou to explain or to, voice his reasons as to what he did. And I'm going to get to what he did. So I've been hearing that through the grapevine. I'm issuing a reminder and a sincere message. Whilst it will be, heart to heart, at the same time, it will be to the point and, it may be slightly harsh at the same time, okay? But I have to address this because it clearly shows that what I've been saying all along, that these group of people and the methodology that they carry, you cannot unite with them. It is clear as night and day that they are a barrier for Muslims to progress. Okay, and also there's numerous ahadith, but I'll just present a couple to show you about reminding your brothers. So as you can see, I've got Sahih Muslim, and as you can see on screen, we've got the hadith, subhanallah, 2199, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Man istata'a minkum an yanfa'a akhahu falyaf'al." That whoever has the ability to advise his brother, then do so. And also in Sahih Muslim, as you can see on screen, the hadith of Tamim al-Dari radiyallahu anhu, and he mentions that the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, "Ad-dinu nasiha," that the religion is advice. Qulna liman, and they asked, to who, ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam? And the advice is to Allah, to His book, to His messenger, to the leaders of the Muslims and the general public. But obviously, these are the hadith that obviously I just wanted to create a benchmark to show you that there's precedent in the Quran and the Sunnah to advise your brothers. Subhanallah al-Azim. Now, back to the video. As you can see, you've got the thumbnail of Umar Suleiman, Shirk and Paganism with Daniel Haqiqatjou. And obviously I'll put cancel there because the video will prove he got cancelled by Dawah Man. And what I'll start off with, just the video of Dawah Man talking to Daniel, because the video has been removed.
That know Muhammad, if they don't listen to you, then they're following their desires. Meaning anyone who disobeys the Prophet is following their desires. So Salaf would use this term. So because of their bid'ah, and the bid'ah evolves, it started off with something small. Let's unite with the Shia. Let's unite with the Ash'aris. Let's do that. But then it evolves. You think, oh, it's not going to go far.
So there you go. So there's the conversation that they had. Brother Daniel and Dawah Man or Dawah Boy had these conversations, centered around Yaqeen and Umar Suleiman, and this whole sort of situation that sort of exploded on social media. Subhanallah al-Azim. When your brother Hajji got whiff of this individual's double standards and this toxic, poisonous methodology that he tries to promote, but in essence he couldn't keep up with it because it's not working, is it? Whatever suited him. And like I said before, I'm not gonna shy away from my words. He's a whore for views. Let's just put it out there. So he was willing to unite with Daniel. Now just sort of say he didn't know that Daniel had certain views. Okay, Daniel had certain opinions. That's fair enough. But shouldn't he have done his research? Like the Salaf said, those who sit with al-bid'ah, and you'll present all of these technicalities, and we've already done a video on it called Chain Tabdi'. I'll put it up on screen, the thumbnail. Go check it out. It's in my playlist, Response to Madakhila, where I just sort of present context to their statements. As Ali radhiyallahu anhu said, when the Khawarij were saying La hukm illa lillah, Ali responded radhiyallahu anhu by saying Kalimat al-haq urid biha batil, that a statement of truth, but what they want from it is falsehood. So the Madakhila and the super Salafis and the bootlickers of tyrants say the statements are truth, but what they want from it is falsehood. So what happened? Dawah Man watched that video, or he was advised, whatever it may be, whatever order it was. He watched my video first and he was advised, regardless. So because guidance and misguidance, huda and dalala, is in connection, or it's parallel to your obedience and your respect and your bootlicking, should I say, to the tyrant rulers of Saudi Arabia in particular, then a person is Sahib al-Sunnah. Okay, and the podcast is what they agreed upon, obviously, and I'm in agreement with them as well regarding Umar Suleiman and this liberal watered down Islam that they're trying to promote. So the podcast, if you want to say, was it a valid podcast in terms of what they were discussing? Of course. But Dawah Man has to stick to his bootlicking principles. So when the video came out, or whether he was advised regarding my video, etc., he could not obviously stand that Daniel Haqiqatjou criticized his masters and his spiritual fathers.
Better for you to be consistent with your worldview, to move to a country, for example, that is, although it is not perfect.
Where? What country? What country should I move to?
By Islam.
What country should I move to?
Any country.
Should I move to Saudi Arabia, where they are imprisoning scholars for saying anything in line with the Sharia? If I were in Saudi,
for example, yes.
Right? Why are they doing that? Saudi is doing that because of who? The West, right? Because of Israel, right? Because of America.
So what does he do? He plugged the video. He removed the video. So look at the respect he showed Daniel Haqiqatjou. 2 hours plus they had a discussion. And in an instant, without even considering the position that he holds, which is in agreement with Daniel. So as you can see on screen, obviously I went onto his channel because people were telling me, you know what, that video's missing. So I said, subhanallah, the video's gone. Look what I find. Number 7, Umar Suleiman. You see how these individuals are absolutely vile and have no respect for the believers, to the point that Daniel's video he got rid of. And to add salt to the wound, to show him no respect and absolutely used him and disrespected him, he done another segment of the same conversation he had with Daniel Haqiqatjou. So he just repeated back the whole topic with a bit of flash, in a murk, and talks about the same thing that he had a discussion with Daniel Haqiqatjou about. So let's play an extra from that video to show you, look at Daniel, honestly brother, if you don't feel disrespected and dishonored, and dare I say, a fool at the same time, then I don't know what to say. If you don't have any haya and any izzah to your own respect, then wallahi al-azim, I don't know what to say. But let's just listen to that.
This person, I let his heart die. That's why, wallahi, I will not understand Umar Suleiman. You know, I'm sorry I'm bringing this up again, but you know what he did in that video that surfaced, of him seeing Muslims that followed him into a demonstration with Christians getting crosses put on their forehead. They came there because he was their leader, or he was their representative, and he stood by as they had crosses put on their forehead, and he didn't tell them to stop.
But he said it was just a lapse.
It's not a lapse, akhi. Shirk billahi azza wa jal. Allah said that the earth, the mountains and the sky want to destroy themselves because they say Allah has got a son. Do you understand? So it's not a lapse, it's shirk, it's kufr billahi azza wa jal. And he stood by and allowed it to happen. Wallah, he has a hand in that. He can't say, oh, it was objectionable, I didn't get involved. May Allah forgive them.
Now, what respect did Dawah Man show Daniel? Daniel was the one that carried out the research. Daniel was the one that's having this back and forth with Yaqeen and Umar Suleiman. Daniel was the one that brought that video out and commented on it eloquently and explained, well, hold on here, what the hell's going on here? You said this to me, call me a lawyer, your buddies and your homeboys and your, cronies try to come to your defense when the video didn't come out, and I've exposed you. So you're talking about Umar Suleiman, where the man who's taking the charge, the one who's in front, the one who's taking the lead, is the one that's educating you about it. But you plug the video which you invited him to your podcast. Let me speak to you, Daniel, now. I want to address you, my brother. And I swear by Allah, this has affected me. And I'll tell you why it's affected me. Maybe if you got no issues with being used and dare I say disrespected, then that's your issue. But let me explain how I feel and where I'm sitting in all of this madness. Dawah Man invites you. You duly accept. You have a conversation with him. My video comes out a week later highlighting your valid position, by the way. I'm in agreement with you. You had every right to criticize Saudi Arabia. And they're not the benchmark for guidance and misguidance. But we'll get to Dawah Man afterwards. So you criticize Saudi Arabia to April. I bring that out. I said, Dawah Man, you said this to me when you try to refute me. This is what Daniel said. And you invite him to your show. All right, you didn't know. Okay, fair enough. You didn't know. But now you know. Is that a justified reason to plug the video? Is that a justified reason to remove the video? I don't care what excuse he gave to you. That is an indirect admission from Dawah Man that you're upon misguidance. You're a person of innovation. Because how bad is it? Just because you said Saudi Arabia locks up the scholars. It's fact. It's not as if it's a hidden matter. Saudi Arabia is arresting numerous of ulama. It's not as if you've brought out something, that no one knows about. And this has been going on since Dawah Man's spiritual father came into power. So, let me ask you now, again. Do you feel disrespected? That's all I'm going to say. Do you not feel disrespected? And if you don't feel disrespected, then you need to pick who you ally with, son. Because if you're going to rush to anyone and everyone that opposes Yaqeen, then let me tell you something, Daniel. Your da'wah is not going to last. Your da'wah is not going to last. If that's all you're going to focus on, anyone that opposes Yaqeen, khalas, let me just go and ally with them, regardless what their views are, regardless how much they have, or how much respect they have for me. Khalas, let's speak about Yaqeen and khalas, it's honky-dory. I can have some respect for yourself. And I'm saying this because I got respect for you. Hence why I'm coming out and addressing this matter. Just in a week, 1 week, he removed the video, plugged it, khalas. Forget Daniel. Who's Daniel? Oh yeah, that Khariji. Oh yeah, the one that criticizes my spiritual fathers. And that's his indirect admission to say you're upon misguidance, akhi. So if you're content with that, akhi, then wallah al-azim, nothing can save you. Nothing I can say can change your approach. So you carry on with your back and forth with Yaqeen. your obsession with yaqeen, go for it. If you don't feel violated and disrespectful for what Dawah Man did, then each to their own. And the final message to you, Dawah boy, Dawah Man. Are your foundations that weak? Is your methodology that weak that a brother can criticize Saudi Arabia and it affects you that much that you have to remove the video? You have to remove the video and then throw dirt in his face by creating that whole video again, talking about the same topic you've already discussed. When will the time come that you're going to openly refute and warn others of this individual who has no business in dwelling into matters that he has no business in? And I'll give you one example. And to those payroll ustads, you make me sick, honestly, all of you. As you can see on screen, there's a course that Dawah Man and co, these payroll ustads, are delivering, okay, over 5 weeks regarding series of lessons from the Quran on purification. And as you can see the freaking question, and he's got Ustad Imran bin Mansour, Dawah Man, and they're actually charging for people to attend this course. Ustad Imran bin Mansour, Dawah Man. Is that how cheap knowledge come now? And again, he's facilitated and he's carried and he's been given legitimacy by the payroll ustads. And all due respect to my Salafi brothers out there, the sincere ones, is this acceptable? That such a person has been elevated to ustad and he's giving lessons, and again, he's being carried by these payroll ustads. He pays their bloody salaries, so they can't speak against him. So I'm speaking to the honourable Salafis out there. It's about time that you get your bloody finger at your nose and wake up, smell the coffee and do the honourable thing and get your act together. Enough's enough now. Him elevate to ustad and no one blinks an eyelid. But wallahi al-azim, you guys are such fanatics and such partisan. Because it's under the Salafi label, you guys won't blink an eyelid. Every single one of you. And now it's come to the point that it needs to be addressed. Enough's enough. The amount of errors that he makes, the amount of mistakes that he makes, the amount of disrespect that he shows to people, i.e. Daniel, and you're going to let him get away with it. You're going to let him carry on as if nothing's happening. At least address it. Unless he hears it from his own, quote-unquote Salafis, call them cult members, call them what you want. Enough's enough now. Honestly, enough's enough. It's now or never. We cannot let this continue, okay? And to Daniel, pick your allies and be very careful who you align with in connection to this back and forth that you have with yaqeen. Okay, that's all I'm going to say to you. So take care of yourselves. Next video soon. Diddy's podcast, Blood Brothers, 5 Pillars will be coming out soon, inshallah. Wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammad.
كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محنته وكم كرهت مصابها لكن رأيت الخير يسكب في أنا كم مرة قد ضقت من عظم البلاء بشر وشيطان يحاصرني أباه كم مرة قد أظلم الدرب ضحى وتحدر الدمع وضاقت بي رؤى كم مرة عصف الأنين بداخلي كم مرة قد ذاق قلبي من أساه محنته وكم كرهت